Shalom, Ka'ala Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahshai, Ba'Shem Ruach HaKodesh. Double honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, with the house of David reborn again in this generation. And Shalom to the 130 Yasharallah, who today are known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who before losing our true heritage, we were known as, and still are, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about the new spending bill that just passed, known as the Omnibus Bill. I think it was like $1.7 trillion or something to that crazy amount, that secures funds for the Native American healthcare system. Now, before we get into this article and a little bit into the history of not only healthcare for the Native Americans on the reservations, but just for people in general, let's read this. This is Proverbs 26 and 25. When he speaketh fair, believe him not, for there are 7 abominations in his heart. Whose hatred is covered by deceit, his wickedness shall be showed before the whole congregation. Who diggeth a pit shall fall therein, and he that rolleth the stone, it will return upon him. So let's go ahead and read this article so you could find out what the supposed good news that Babylon the Great, which is what America is known as, has declared for the Native American Indians, who are biblically known as the tribe of Gad, being one of the 12 tribes of Israel, making the Native American Indians one of the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. It says, spending bill secures funds for Native American health care. Access to health care for Native Americans across the U.S. will be bolstered with funding included in a government spending bill approved by Congress. Albuquerque, New Mexico. Access to healthcare for Native Americans and Alaska Natives will be bolstered with the funding included in a massive government spending bill awaiting President Joe Biden's signature. And we know that this already has passed, because this was back on the 23rd of December that this article was written. It says, the U.S. House paused the measure Friday, avoiding a government shutdown, and provided more certainty for a federal agency that delivers health care to more than 2.5 million people. A coalition of lawmakers from Kansas, Arizona, New Mexico, California, and elsewhere fought to include advance appropriations for the Indian Health Service in the bill, marking the first for the chronically underfunded agency as a way to ensure the services continue in case of potential funding disruptions. With the legislation, the IHS joins other federal health care programs that receive advanced funding, including Medicare, Medicaid, and the Veterans Health Administration. This will ensure the patients are not just subjects to the uncertainty of the government funding process, saving lives and creating stronger, healthier communities, Representative Sharice Davis, the Democrat from Kansas, said in a statement. Along with increased funding for education, housing, and economic development, this bill brings us closer to upholding our federal trust and treaty obligations to the American Indian and Alaska Native communities. So, one thing about that, it sounds great, but when you understand that America has not kept a single treaty to the Native American people, right, the tribe of Gad, then you should start asking yourself, why all of a sudden, after this grand pandemic, or should I say plandemic, are they now wanting to throw millions at this issue? Okay, because this is an issue that's been known for a long time, right? Here at the American Bar Association, they actually created a good write-up on it. It says Native Americans, a crisis in health equity, right? It says, by any measure, health care for Native American lags behind other groups despite a legal obligation on the part of the United States to provide health care to American Indians and Alaska Natives. Native American communities face significant inequality in health care and health status compared to other U.S. populations. Health outcomes for Native Americans are adversely impacted by wholly inadequate access to comprehensive health services. And I'm not going to go any further, but the point being is that you got to understand, right? Just like the curses are upon the Negroes and Latinos, right? We tend to be in the in the ghettos, right? The hoods, right? You got to understand that the Native American Indians, the tribe of Gad and the tribe of Reuben, they're also have the same curses upon them, right? But we don't really hear about them unless you're over here in the mid-southwest, right? Down in Arizona, Utah, and those areas where a lot of the reservations are at, okay? But again, if you are, then you understand that the reservations, they're basically just larger ghettos, okay? There's no sort of government like support there for the most part. It's all there in a facade, right? But as it tells you here, man, it's inadequately underfunded, right? And again, the U.S. government, Babylon the Great, had a legal obligation to help these people out, right? Because this was the treaty that they had made with them, almost hundreds of years ago, right? During the Trail of Tears, saying that they would provide for them when they moved them out. Let's take a look at the Bible timeline so you can understand when that was, because you got to remember, right? When America first came in and they basically started taking over the Indian lands, they basically pushed all the Indians from all over the United States over to the reservations that are known now in the Midwest, where basically nothing is at, right? And this happened during 1831 to 1850, right? There's stories about how in these large marches, right, that took places from all over the United States, that a lot of the women and the children were basically removed, right? Men, there's accounts of men saying that when they started the journeys, there were women and children with them, but by the time they got to the reservations, all the women and children were gone, right? The children, they scooped up and sent them off to Canada to be re-educated in their education schools, right? And the women, more than likely they were, I'm sure some of them were dealt with, and others were sent to some sort of probably like education school, just like the children, okay? But the point being is that these devils, they did the exact same thing to the Native American Indians, right? Your tribe of Gad and your tribe of Reuben, as they did with the other tribes. They separated us, or should I say they conquered us, separated us, and ultimately relegated us to a life of servitude, okay? This is where the Native American Indians, though they have a form of sovereignty, it's a veiled comparison to true sovereignty, right? They are still dependent on the U.S. government, man. They can't do certain things without the federal government's approval, okay? The police forces, the elder councils that they have on the reservations are all beholden to the U.S. government, right? Yes, police can't technically come onto the reservations, but again, that's all just for show. Okay. Now, and now, all of a sudden, Esau, these Edomites, which is the biblical name for the nation, which we know today as white people or Caucasians, now they want to help, right? After the hundreds of years that they've been legally obligated to do something, to provide assistance, now they want to stand up and, be that angel of light that's going to come in as a savior. But there's a reason why, right? There's a reason why all this is being done. And not only to the Native American Indians, but basically to everybody here, especially in the United States, but namely to target the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Because as the ex-governor of Los Angeles or California said, Jerry Brown, I think he was maybe just Los Angeles, but he says, everybody's heard about the military-industrial complex, but they know very little about the medical-industrial complex in a medical arms race. Right? And what Jerry Brown here, this Edomite, what he's talking about is the medical system, or the medical-industrial system, which we know today as the healthcare in America. Right? It's a big joke, and it's all for profit. Right? This cartoon, this caricature, captures it perfectly. Right? On the right-hand side, you have a very simple, straightforward, less complicated system of a single payer healthcare, which is what the healthcare system should be. Right? They try to dissuade you by saying, "Oh, that's socialism." No. Right? This should be part of the social contract that is supposedly in place, that we all have agreed to, which we didn't, right? Because we're all here in captivity. See, this is what you Negro, Latino, Native Americans, you don't understand that. You didn't come here for the American dream, right? You came here to serve your enemies, right? The American dream is not for us. The American dream is for the Caucasians and all these other nations who have come here to profit off the backs of the Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, the Israelites. Okay, this is why we don't have anything here, right? And yes, there are some exceptions to the rules. There are the Negro, Latino, Native Americans who are real estate agents, or they have 2 or 3 businesses, and they're considered rich. But for the most part, when they die, they're probably going to leave maybe a little something to their kids, and that's it. Their kids are going to probably waste it, and if they're smart, they'll hold on to it. But the point being is that money is not going to go any further than a local neighborhood at the most, right? You're not going to see any Israelites, right, out there basically changing the economic status of our people. Okay, that ain't going to happen. And why is that? Well, because the Lord is with these Edomites, these Caucasians, right? And what have these Edomites decided to do with all that power, all that wealth, right? With the power that is in their hand? Well, they've decided to make a profit, right? They decided to basically screw everybody over, so that way they can have more. This is Wisdom of Solomon 15 and 12. But they counted our life a pastime, and our time here a market for gain. For say they, we must be getting every way, though it be by evil means. And this is Isaiah 31 and 1. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help, and stay on horses, and trust in chariots, because they are many, and in horsemen, because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai. And you see, that's what ultimately these Edomite devils want. They don't want you to look for your own solutions. They don't want you to look to our power, right? Which is the God of the Bible, right? Which, if you understand what the Bible tells you, man, it tells you to look up for your own remedies, right? Look towards the herbs and natural, medicine, right? Things that could make you well, right? No, these devils, not only have they taken over the entire industrial medical complex, the entire medical system to create the medical industrial complex for profit, but they've also done it to weaponize it. And what do I mean by that? Well, because you see, not only have they taken over the medical industry, I want you to look up the Rockefellers, how they came in and they started to take over the medical system back in the early 1900s, right? And they started pushing through their petroleum based medicines. But recently, we've all heard of all these, natural medicine doctors who have all of a sudden been showing up dead. Why is that? Well, because Esau doesn't like competition. Okay, Esau doesn't like there to be another choice, right? Because he wants to be, as this image shows, be presented as an angel of light, as the savior, as the solution to all your problems, which which he doesn't want to admit that he's created, right? This is 2 Corinthians 11 and 14. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. Because you see, the truth of the matter is that these Edomites, they are the physical manifestation of Satan. They are the wicked that the Bible speaks of. And it doesn't matter if they try to do good. They just can't, right? The spirit that is within them is created for chaos and destruction, okay? Just like the spirit that is inside of us Israelites, the Negro, Latino, and Native Americans, is a spirit for good, right? Behind our actions, or should I say behind our righteous actions for the righteous Israelites is a motivation to do good, right? But the spirit and the impetus behind these Edomites, right, is an action, a will to do evil and wickedness, right? This is why right now you're seeing the world being tumbled, morally upside down, because right now we're living these Edomites' wet dream, okay? All the wickedness is being put on display. The Lord is lifting up the skirt of these Edomites so that way the whole world can see their wickedness, okay? From the pedophilia to all the sexual scandals, to the corruption, to the inequality, to the baked into the system racism that has been set up, okay? This is what is in the hearts of these Edomites, okay? You can't fix what has been made crooked on purpose, okay? What does the Bible say? Who can straighten that which the Lord has made crooked? You can't, right? And this is why these Edomites, man, they ultimately need to be taken out of power. And the thing is because they have God with them. Because again, you got to remember that whole, bugged out notion that the angels fell from heaven and they were kicked out along with Satan and they rebelled against God, and that's all a bunch of BS. You see, the thing is that the Lord is sifting humanity, and in that sifting there are agents of chaos. There's agents of agitation, right? Just like when you're sifting, rocks or some sort of chemicals, you have to have agents of or agitations, agents, right? Like either clay balls or something. So basically agitate the mixture. And that's what these Edomites are, right? The book of Job tells you that the wicked are the sword of the Lord. That the Lord uses the wicked as his weapon, right? To bring forward his punishments. And that's ultimately what these Edomites are, right? And again, these Edomites are the physical manifestation of Satan upon earth, right? This is 2 Corinthians 2:11. Least Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Because you see, in this system, which these Edomites have constructed for profit and also to use it as a weapon, right? Because you see, there's been people that have basically nailed it right on the head, telling you, man, that this is how they're going to bring forward their new world order agenda, right? They're going to unleash, plague after plague, after crisis after crisis, which is going to require some sort of medical assistance. And the vast majority of the population here in the United States don't even know how to make Theraflu, man. They don't even know how to make certain tinctures. They don't know how herbs work. They don't know the benefits of garlic. They don't know the benefits of turmeric, of honey, right? All these things, right? Because why? Because they've been led through their whole life to believe that only the medical doctors who we recently seen all the havoc that they could cause, right? With all their safe and effective talk, right? They've all been led to believe that is the only path to getting better, right? To healthcare, right? But the thing is that system is ultimately there for a trap, right? It is a device of Satan, okay? And why is that? Because ultimately it's going to bring this. Because for those Native Americans who are going to be given all this great medical health care benefits finally, right, after a long overdue process, this is what they're going to more likely be presented with, right? if they want to go and get their medical checkups or their medical assistance, they're going to have some sort of, they're going to need some sort of biometric identity, which is going to come in the form of the MOTB, that mark of the you know what, right? This is Revelations 13 and 16. And he, right, these Edomites, causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. That's 666. Okay? So again, for any Native American Indians out there on the res, though these medical benefits that the government's gonna try to throw at you are gonna seem like a benefit, you gotta understand, man. Just like those blankets that they handed out, you know, came with a hidden package, so too does their gifts. Okay, it's all a trap, and it's going to be ultimately to lead you to these right here, these chips, right? Either one for your hand or one for your forehead, right? And you got to understand, man, if you take this, then you simply have crossed yourself out from any form of salvation from the coming nuclear annihilation of World War III and Jacob's trouble, which is ultimately martial law that's going to be declared here in the United States, right? So either way, hopefully this video was edifying off you. Until the next time, I want to give all honor and glory and praises to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Rukok Dash. Double honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of the great millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect. Shalom.